You did one of my favorite biographies of our time, Johnny and June, and now you did my second favorite biography of all time. I completely know. So the most obvious questions: why Bob Dylan?
Oh my God. Well, I don't think I made the decision because Bob Dylan. I mean, I profoundly admire, even worship Bob Dylan and his talent and his music, but that's not a good enough reason to make a movie about him. The fact was that when I was presented with Elijah Wald's book that kind of looked at this very specific period between, the late 50s and 1965, it seemed to me a cocktail that would really allow a very focused point of view about a very focused story that was less biographical, cradle to grave, as it were, and more about, well, no grave at this point, so just cradle to Malibu, and offer us a better chance at a quality story. When we make fictional stories, we don't tell life stories from beginning to end. We focus on a day, a week, or a month in the life of a person. So the fact that this story was really hunkered down on 3.5 years of time meant that there would be a real focus to it. We wouldn't be trying to take on and explain the length and breadth of his whole existence, which really would have been impossible in 2.5 hours.
I became very impressed with Timothée Chalamet as Dylan, because it's a character that is so easy to be a stereotype, to the way he talks, the way he sings, and he did a brilliant job.
I agree. I adore him. He's a remarkable talent. I mean, in many ways, my number one job as a director of actors like the talented Timothée Chalamet, or many others in this film, or others I've made, Christian Bale, Matt Damon, Vanessa Redgrave, Angelina Jolie, Hugh Jackman, Russell Crowe. The formula is the same with all of them when you're dealing with talent that great. Joaquin Phoenix, of course, Reese Witherspoon. You create the space for them to fill it. You guide them, you help them, you're their friend, you're there to tell them when they're wonderful and tell them honestly when you think they can do better, but you are also there to just protect and give them the space. They're there, they've gotten to where they are in their careers for a reason. Timothy is a magnificent actor, and also has a preternatural sense of the camera and how to use it as his friend, as his stage, as it moves around him. You can't teach that stuff, and you can't tell people to do that stuff. They have to come, just like a musician, they have to have the sense to know how to fill the hole, how to bring the melody to the bridge, how to stay on beat.
That's what I want to know about, because a lot of biographies that I see, the actor that is playing this, it seems like, oh, I'm an actor playing, or Bob Dylan, or I'm the actor playing Elvis Presley, and you made your actors so natural. Edward Norton is Peter Seeger. Joan Baez, the girl that does the mess is Joan Baez. The guy who does Johnny Cash is Johnny Cash. Not I'm an actor playing like that. What is a secret?
I don't know. But I will say that I have a very unusual method of trying to help them get there, which I'll always, the best way of telling it to you would be when I made Walk the Line. Joaquin would often come up to me almost every day and he'd go, "Say that thing." And I'd go, "You're not Johnny Cash." And he'd go, "Thank you." And what I meant, of course, is that the burden of impersonation, of mimicry, I was not interested in. I want them to bring themselves. I want them to bring their own soul to the role. There's no point in them just imitating the behaviors, tics, dialect, and affectations of character. They need to fill the heart and soul of the character, and for that they need to bring themselves. They can't be looking at references and pictures all day. They need to just fill it in from the inside out.
And what I think is incredible in Bob Dylan, and you did it brilliantly in the movie. He's a guy who does not show so many empathy for the people. I think sometimes he feel uncomfortable around people, even his friends.
I think that's true. I think just because one is good at writing and singing songs doesn't mean one is good at difficult social situations. I also think, to be honest, that none of us would, not many of us would be very good at the social situations that Dylan was put into, which is to be adored or coveted, to be revered as a prophet, to be heralded as a kind of new king. That's a little overwhelming. And the other thing that I think we try to show in the movie is that as his reputation, fame, and success grew, his relationships and friendships became more transactional. There were expectations to deliver the right kind of album, to come and appear at this charity event or at this festival, to let other people sing his songs, and that I could imagine that all these favors that every friend required, when one person is so brilliant and powerful, all the relationships become asymmetrical. You know, it is one person has so much and is asked to give and share, and you know, and when people are, it's part of the reason I made the supporting characters so strong in this film, is I felt that as much as this is a movie about Bob Dylan, it's also about the effect Bob Dylan had on those around him. And that's a way of understanding him, perhaps even better than just trying to have him give some monologue where he declares his innermost feelings.
The scene that Woody Guthrie picks the LP, the player, and say Bob, that he wants to listen to Bob, is one of the best scenes that I ever saw.
Wait, which scene?
Now, when Woody Guthrie asks for Bob to listen to Bob Dylan, he's
Oh,
in
yes.
and he says to Peter Seeger, Bob.
Yes, he wants the harmonica to go to, he wants the harmonica to go to him. Yes, it's a beautiful scene, and it's also about, you know, I think Woody Guthrie is the one who understands Bob, even though he never gets to speak. Woody Guthrie was a singer-songwriter. He was the whole package. He was difficult and moody, and wrote hundreds of great songs, prolific, and I think that's why Dylan admired him so much. The other characters in the movie, particularly Pete and Joan, were never so prolific. I mean, Joan only wrote a handful of songs, and Pete, the same is true. Bob has now written over 600 songs, 55 albums. It is an incredible body of work.
Yeah. Mr. Mangold, our time is up. Thank you very much for the interview.
My pleasure, Sergio. Very well. Thank you.